Today's boys and girls, we're going to read part of chapter 9, the last paragraph where it starts with I hopped on my bike, and then we're going to go all the way through page 13. And today our focus is going to be on personification. So when we're listening to our story be read, think about personification. Personification is when you give something non-human a human characteristic. So such as like when you watch Disney movies and you watch Beauty and the Beast and you have the teapot who's singing and dancing, that's personification because the teapot can't do those kind of things. So while you're listening to it be read, pages 9, the last chapter 9 through 13, be thinking about personification. What things are we given human characteristics to that aren't human?
I hopped back on my bike, darted to Liberty Mart, got my bird, and tied all 21 pounds of it across the breast onto my handlebars. But getting it home wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. When I rode over the pothole in front of St. Brendan's rectory, like I always did for the heck of it, one of the knots slipped, and the frozen turkey slid like a shuffleboard puck down the sidewalk and into the gutter before stopping inches away from the catch drain. No problem, I thought. It was frozen and sealed in plastic. I picked it up and tied it even tighter with a few extra knots. But while I was cutting through a parking lot, it fell again and skidded under a huge 4-door sedan. I crouched down and tried to grab it, but it was just out of my arm's reach. Finally, I squirmed under the car on my belly and yanked it back, the turkey and me emerging grimy and blotched with oil. By then, the sweaty condensation on the bird made it impossible to tie to the handlebars. I took off my t-shirt, wrapped it around the turkey like I was swaddling a baby, and retied it for a third time, thinking that would do the trick. Not so. Crossing 87th Avenue, it came loose again. I swerved to avoid running it over and fell off my bike. There we were, me and a 21-pound turkey lying on the pavement in the middle of a 4-lane road, just as the traffic light turned green and cars began honking incessantly. Surely the Indians and Pilgrims must have had an easier time, I thought. With one hand on the handlebar and the other barely able to carry the turkey, I managed to inch my way over to the sidewalk. "That's it!" I yelled at the bird. I tied it to the bike seat and walked my bike the rest of the way. Once home, I washed off the scuff marks and grime with the garden hose before presenting the turkey to Abuela. There was a tear in the plastic seal, but the turkey was still frozen and intact. "Que grande! Que lindo!" Abuela praised it, none the wiser, and made room for it in the freezer. Mama poked around and snooped inside the grocery bags. "What's all this for?" she asked Abuela, who looked at me to answer her. "We're gonna have a real Thanksgiving this year, Mama. Abuela's going to make a turkey and yams and everything," I explained. "Como? Turkey? Nobody knows how to make that, especially not your Abuela. She can't even cook Cuban food too good," she jabbed. "Don't worry," Abuela said, trying to remain calm. "You just sit down and relax, like you always do. Ricky is helping me, and he knows what he's doing." "Bueno," Mama replied. "I don't know. You better cook something else too. Some carne puerco, just in case." Si, whatever," Abuela said. Just as the bird slipped through her hands, it slid across the terrazzo floor, bounced down the single step from the kitchen into the Florida sunroom, and knocked into the TV. It lay there, mocking us, mocking me, basking in the sunlight, enjoying the breeze whispering through the jalousie windows and the view of the backyard mango tree framed by the sliding glass door. Early on Thanksgiving morning, Abuela told me to put the turkey outside. "That's the best way to defreeze it," she said with authority. I put the turkey in a baking pan and placed it in the middle of the backyard terrace, where the sun could shine on it all day. And Abuela faithfully followed all my instructions as I translated them to her, without adding any additional ingredients of her own. No saffron, no garlic, no cumin. By 2 o'clock, the yams were ready for the marshmallow topping, and we had finished a pot of stuffing in a box. ¿Cómo? Why? Where? Abuela asked, as bewildered by the concept of stuffing as I was, despite Jimmy Dawson's explanation, which I parroted to her. Yes, Abuela, inside. That's why they call it stuffing. We stuffed the bird and put it in the oven, alongside Abuela's just-in-case pork shoulder, which she had marinated overnight with bitter orange and garlic mojito. Wafts of roasting turkey, wafts of roasting pork. The competing scents battled through the house, while I helped Papa and Abuelo set up folding domino tables on both ends of our dining table. We assembled a mishmash of desk chairs, beach chairs, and stools, stretching from the kitchen into the living room to seat all 22 relatives. I spent the rest of the afternoon making construction paper turkeys, like Mrs. Echevarria had taught us in class. I placed one at each setting, then drew pumpkins all over the paper tablecloth and cut into its edges to make a frilly trim. Abuela added a bouquet of gladiolus, which didn't fit the theme, but made the table look better, despite the plastic plates and utensils. Ay, Dios mío! Come over here! Abuela yelled for me. What is that blue thing? She asked, alarmed by the pop-up timer in the turkey, which she hadn't noticed before, and I had forgotten to point out. Relax, Abuela. It's nothing. It's supposed to pop when the turkey is cooked, I explained. Really? Como inventan los americanos? They make everything so easy, she said, relieved, then slid the turkey back into the oven, only to call me over again 20 minutes later. Bueno, the puerco is done. The turkey must be done too. Look at it, she said. Pero, Abuela, the blue thing hasn't popped up. We can't take it out, I demanded. Ay, mijo, look at the skin. Toasty like the puerco, she insisted, knocking on it with the back of a spoon. It's done, I tell you. Además, it's already 7 o'clock. We have to put the other things in the oven before everyone gets here. Pero, Abuela, we can't, I repeated. She ignored my protest. What do you know about cooking? Give me los llames and el pie. I knew it was useless to argue any further, and hoped for the best as I topped the yams with marshmallows and cinnamon and took the pumpkin pie out of the freezer.